Herpes simplex virus 1 and 2 by Martha Ugalde for the College of Science, Grand Canyon University, for Dr. Burr's Concepts of Medical Microbiology class. Welcome to this comprehensive presentation on herpes simplex virus types 1 and 2, which I'll be referring to as HSV1 and HSV2 throughout this presentation. These prevalent pathogens are responsible for a range of human diseases. And in this presentation, we will be discussing and I will be delving into the virus's taxonomy, structure, life cycle. We will explore how HSV1 and 2 establish infection through a highly organized process involving the viral capsid and double-stranded DNA genome. Understanding their pathogenesis will reveal why these viruses are so effective at causing recurrent infections. And we will also examine the global epidemiology of these viruses, highlighting their models for transmission and prevalence across different regions. And finally, we will discuss current strategies for treatment and prevention, including antiviral therapies and public health measures supported by insights from peer-reviewed scholarly articles. I'm very excited to share with you of the intricate world of herpes simplex viruses to provide an in-depth understanding of these complex pathogens. So the discovery of herpes simplex virus was first identified by Hippocrates, but the virus itself was isolated in the 20th century. The herpes virus was named by the Greek physician Hippocrates, who used the term herpes to describe the vesicular lesions that appeared near to each other. The key scientist that identified and discovered the structure of herpes simplex virus was Thomas Huckle Weller, who contributed to the development of the cell culture method for virus isolation. These viruses are scientifically named human alpha herpes virus 1 and alpha herpes virus 2. Taxonomy and structure. HSV is classified under the family of Herpesviridae. Its subfamily is alpha herpes virinae, and the genus is Simplex virus. The structure of HSV consists of an enveloped viruses with icosahedral, which is the shape that we can see here. It's icosahedral capsids and contain double-stranded DNA. The virons or virus particles are generally round but can vary in shape, as you can see down here. Right. They are surrounded by a membrane about 5 nanometers thick with diameters ranging from 170 to 200 nanometers, averaging 186 nanometers. Spikes on the surface increase the average total diameter of up to about 225 nanometers. Inside the membrane, the nucleocapsid, which houses the virus's genetic material, is positioned off-center. On one side, it's close to the membrane, while the other side, it's separated by about 30 to 35 nanometers of a substance called the tegument. And this scanning microscopy image here, you're able to see this tegument that I just spoke of, okay? This area right here. The tegument takes up about 2/3 of the space inside of the membrane, with the capsid occupying the remaining third. The tegument has a consistent cap-like structure, but its substructure varies, giving it a pleomorphic appearance. In some views, the tegument looks uniformly thick, which occurs when viewing along the polar axis of the viron. Pathogenesis. So HSV type 1 and type 2 are among the most widespread human pathogens responsible for diverse diseases such as cold sores, genital herpes, herpes stromal meningitis, and encephalitis. These viruses are adept to evading the immune system, employing strategies to circumvent intrinsic, innate, and adaptive immune responses. Paradoxically, the immune response itself can exacerbate disease, contributing to conditions like stromal keratitis and encephalitis. HSV infections vary in severity among individuals, partly due to genetic polymorphisms that influence susceptibility to severe disease. The viruses have two distinct replication cycles, the lytic and the latent. The lytic cycle involves the production of infectious viral particles that spread to other cells and hosts, whereas the latent cycle is characterized by limited gene expression without viral particle production. HSV establishes latency predominantly in neurons, and it can cause disease during both initial infection and reactivation phases. The transition between latency and reactivation remains incompletely understood, with ongoing research into the viral and host factors that regulate these processes. There is a potential link between HSV-1 infection and Alzheimer's disease. However, underscoring the complexity of herpes and herpes simplex pathogenesis and its implications for human health would require more research. Epidemiology. HSV-1 is prevalent worldwide and it's commonly transmitted orally. HSV-2 is primarily transmitted sexually. Both are able to spread through direct contact with infected body fluids. So as we can see here, HSV 1 was estimated at a 38% among the general population in children, 63.5% in adults. And HSV-1 has a decreasing rate of about 1% per year. And HSV-1 as a cause of genital herpes is increasing at a rate of 2% per year. So herpes 1 is becoming more common, a more common form of genital herpes. All right, treatment and prevention. Medicines are commonly used to manage herpes outbreaks that reduce symptom duration and severity, although they cannot cure the infection. Antiviral drugs like acyclovir, famciclovir, and valacyclovir are most effective when started within 48 hours of symptom onset, and daily low doses can prevent recurrences. Treatment is recommended for those with severe or frequent episodes or to a lower transmission risk. Pain relief can be achieved with paracetamol, naproxen, ibuprofen, or topical anesthetics like benzocaine and lidocaine for numbing purposes. The herpes virus resides in nerve cells, alternating between active and inactive states, with triggers including illness, sun exposure, and stress. Sun-sensitive individuals can reduce oral herpes recurrences by avoiding sun exposure and using sunscreen. Symptom relief for oral herpes include cold drinks and popsicles, while genital herpes relief includes warm baths and loose clothing. To prevent spreading herpes, individuals should communicate with partners to avoid sexual contact during outbreaks. using condoms and not share items that have come into contact with saliva. Herpes SV1, as you know, is divided into two types: HSV1, which is commonly associated with oral infections like the cold sores. HSV2 is responsible for genital herpes. The genome is double-stranded DNA. The virus spreads through direct contact with infected bodily fluids. Symptoms range. They're painful blisters, whether they're in the mouth area or in the genitalia. Latency and reactivation. HSV resides in nerve cells and can alternate between being inactive and active. Once you have it, you're not getting rid of it. It doesn't go away. Various triggers, such as stress or illness, can reactivate the virus and lead to outbreaks. So treatment is so important. While there's no cure, these antiviral medications help minimize the amount of episodes that a person infected with herpes simplex virus can potentially have. So acyclovir is one of the most popular ones. There are people who suffer of extreme episodes and they need to take this medication more regularly than others. Famciclovir is also another common medication. And then, of course, pain relief would be in addition to these medications, these antivirals. And what these drugs do, the antiviral medications, is help minimize or stop the viron reproduction in the cell. So prevention. Preventative measures include using condoms, avoiding sexual contact during outbreaks, of course, and not sharing items is so important when somebody has open cold sores on their mouth, that you're not sharing drinks, makeup, chapstick, anything that you would put in your mouth shouldn't touch those open sores. And people with open sores should also take proper precautions and measures to not spread those active sites. And that's all that I have for you on herpes simplex virus.